Dude, the thing that holds people back from, like, most people are trying to get from point A to point B, and it's rarely their drumming that's holding them back. Rarely. It's almost always mentality.
All right, so what is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 4 of the Nashville Drummers Podcast. My name is Dan Ainspan, and if you're new here, this is a brand new podcast started by myself and fellow drummer Nathan Sletner. And we're sitting down with Nashville's up-and-coming players. We're learning their unique journeys to Nashville, what they're currently up to, and we hope to provide the community here in Nashville and outside of Nashville as well with inspiration, education, and definitely some laughs and entertainment along the way. Our featured guest today is Taylor Friesth, and we've been trying to schedule this interview really since the inception of this podcast, and we're super stoked to finally have recorded it just a few weeks ago. Taylor is a really close friend, and anyone that lives in Nashville, especially if you're a drummer here, and has had the pleasure of getting to know Taylor, you already know just how genuine of a guy he is, and a cool hang, and a very unique and talented player on the drums. For those that don't know Taylor, I'll read a brief section from his bio. Taylor's from Colorado, and he's been performing, and he's a published author and educator who has been playing since the age of 6. Since then, he has performed on stages such as Red Rocks and Folsom Field. His drumming has led him to perform with various groups, from GRiZ to New Orleans-style brass band Guerrilla Fanfare. And we get into some interesting and funny stories with both of those groups. Beyond playing the drums, Taylor has a passion for education, which over time his teaching would expand to go online, where he started his own personal online lessons website called tfdrums.com. And just a quick plug for Taylor. I mean, if you're a drummer here in Nashville, or if you're living anywhere else, and maybe you kind of feel stuck in your progression as a player, you don't have that, dedicated one-on-one lesson that you feel that you need, Taylor is the guy. He's got some really great dedicated one-on-one email lessons, and I believe also through video. Really such a good resource. So if you're interested, definitely check out tfdrums.com. Also, give Taylor a follow on Instagram and his other social media platforms. We'll have that linked in the episode description. Lastly, in 2016, Taylor released his book, The Sly Hat. It's a 13-chapter book focused on how to use your hi-hat foot as a part of your grooves and fills, as opposed to having to keep a steady pulse under what you're playing. I know for me personally, this has been such a unique way of looking at my own playing. It definitely not something that I think a lot of drummers pay attention to. So definitely check out that book called The Sly Hat. It's published under Hudson Music. In this episode, we go over Taylor's background, the groups he's been playing with, and he shares a lot of really interesting insights, sometimes not related directly to drumming or the craft of playing the drums, and that's why we love this podcast. We're learning a lot from each and every one of you, just about different topics, about health, about life, about mentalities and practicing and goal setting, all these kind of topics. And we're super grateful to have Taylor discuss a lot of this in today's episode. And so with that, let's jump right into it. Thank you so much for checking out this podcast, and I hope you enjoy episode 4 featuring Taylor Friesth. Okay, where should we start?
Dude. Well, so you guys just had Jeffrey on.
Yeah.
Who else have you had?
You're number 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
Welcome.
Thank you.
So glad you're here, buddy.
I'm honored. Truly.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing this for a while, having you on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's been a long time. Well,
I
yeah,
feel
you've
like-
been wanting to start this for a long time, too.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor was one of the first people I met here in Nashville in terms of another drummer.
Yeah.
And I remember when we first met, like I was telling you about, Nate and I had this idea for a podcast, And it's just so cool how things have developed. Because I feel like it's sort of evolved from our friendships. Would you agree? Like us just kind of shooting the shit and talking with other drummers and non-drummers. And from there, it kind of, the idea for a podcast sort of developed. So thank you for appreciate your friendship and
absolutely
mentorship and everything.
Yeah, something about having a person or multiple people with which you can have just really natural interactions that are seemingly entertaining to, when I think about it being an outsider, I'm like, if I were listening to this, I wouldn't care if I was a drummer. I would think that this was hilarious. So
sure. That's kind of the whole point. Yeah. No, that's cool.
So I guess why don't we start? We obviously know you. We're, I would say, really good friends, the three of us.
Yeah.
As I just said. So for everyone that doesn't know you, Taylor, I guess you kind of introduce yourself, where you're from, and what's your journey to Nashville? How long you been here?
I've been here since December. My music journey has been kind of like Swiss cheese. Like I started out doing like jazz band and stuff in high school, and like did marching band and played in a bunch of different bands, just like with friends and whatever it was. And it was kind of like the only thing I could do. Like in any class, I would just be like, I couldn't do school or anything, or I played lacrosse, I played football, I played soccer, I played basketball, everything. I just couldn't do it. So I kind of just like stuck with what I knew and what I liked to do. And drumming is where all my friend group was. And so might as well just keep going with it.
Right.
And then college, I went to McNally Smith in St. Paul, Minnesota, which has its history. I don't know if you guys have heard about that.
No.
About the shutdown.
Educate me.
Not familiar.
Have you heard of McNally Smith?
Nope.
So it's kind of like one of the smaller schools that if you can't afford to go to Berkeley, if you just don't want to go to Berkeley, then you'll go to McNally Smith, and it's like, I think it's 800 people in the whole school, so you kind of know everybody.
Yeah.
You kind of know the whole department, and Steve Miller, band drummer, was the head of percussion, which is kind of cool.
Who's that?
Gordy Knudsen?
Gordon Knudsen.
Gordy Knudsen.
Gordy.
He was he got the push-pull technique pretty popular.
Okay.
Like him and like Jojo Man and stuff, but he was the head of percussion, which was cool. But I felt like for me, if I were to major in percussion, I feel like if the end goal of majoring in percussion was to pursue a life in music, I don't think you need the degree necessarily for that.
Agreed.
I think you can just real life experience is going to be a better substitute for that. Like, might as well just go do it.
Yeah, I've thought about that a lot. I mean, obviously, I'm really grateful for my college education, and that got me a lot of opportunities. But I do think of what would have happened if I just went right to Nashville or whatever city that would have been, and just just got thrown in the pool, learned to swim, kind of thing.
Yeah, there's obviously a really growing, increasing in popularity, this idea of don't start when you're ready, just start.
Right. You told a really good story the other day of like you went to your first drum lesson, and he was like, "Hey," you were like, "Hey, like I just want to be a drummer one day."
Yeah.
And then his response was like, "Well,
yeah, well now you are.
You already are.
Here you go.
Like,
You are now.
So now what?
Hit the drum once."
Okay. The moment that you drum and that's what you want to be, you are that thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's huge.
That's
It's
how
like,
that works
okay.
with a lot of things.
Yeah. Like,
Oh, you want to be an author?
I was
Oh,
about
as
to
soon as
say
you
a book.
start writing,
Right.
you're an author.
yeah, there it is. You're just not good at it.
You're authing.
You're authing. You're one who auths.
Authoring.
Love it.
But it's just like you can do it consistently and get good at it, and then you can start to identify by it.
Right.
But sure, whatever.
Right.
Of
Of course there are levels to the game.
Right.
But
Right.
you want to be that thing, then you just define what exactly you want within that, and you just
Right.
head towards that thing.
No, 100%.
So you're in college during this time. What did you define as your thing? Like, what was? Because was Nashville the goal? Like, I don't think it was, right?
I had no clue what I was doing,
Yeah.
and I think that's why I left.
And what were you doing musically?
I was Nothing.
Really?
You weren't canoodling with Knutson?
I never
That's
noodled
good.
with the newt.
If that was not his 101 class, then that he was doing himself a disservice.
That's just he's literally leaving money on the table.
Yes. He could have 60 students every semester.
Dude, he would he would show up to class sometimes, and he would, amazing teacher, one of the best I've ever had, like really pushed me to kind of like figure out. He was actually one of the biggest reasons why I figured out what I was doing.
Yeah.
Because he sat me down in a room, and he got really upfront with me and was like, hey man, like, I know you're questioning if you want to actually be at the school. Like, let's figure out why you're doing that, why you might want to leave, why you might want to go into business school. And like that, because that's what I was trying to leave for. And it was really important just to have someone to like sit down and be like, figure your shit out.
That's the best kind of teacher.
It was amazing. It was kind of like tough love, which was hard at the time.
It's the opposite of like the evil of a lot of the education system, which is just, I'm just going to push you into whatever this thing is. I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter if you don't actually have a future in this at all. Like, I can see that you're disinterested in this, but you're here,
right?
And I want the money. Like, well, that's evil. If you see that a person doesn't actually want that thing at all, and it has nothing to do with their future, it's your responsibility to be like, yo, go free, my child, fly.
I'm the peacock, man. You gotta let me fly.
You ever heard? You ever actually heard peacocks in real life? They're terrible.
No.
They make a horrible screeching sound. It's not like the one I just made.
Hey,
it's
guys,
much worse.
We don't have any animals in here.
No, we should
You
have
get
a
some
live
peacocks.
peacock in this room.
Yeah, yeah.
There was one
just a
that
peacock.
lived right down the street from this place I used to practice with my old band in California, and every time I'd hear it, I'm like, I think someone's in trouble. But I'm like, oh no, it's just that damn peacock.
What was I saying before that?
No idea.
Oh no, the education system too. We can like ease back to the conversation, but no, like in education, like I think it's good to have like a very wide range of things that you are teaching.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's almost essential. You love that shit. You read philosophy. You read all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think there is value in getting like a wide range of information. But what Gordy did is he sat me down and was like, you got to be specific with what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to play in bands, play in bands. If you want to teach. If you want to do this shit, like do it.
Yeah.
Like, don't do everything because you can't. You can pick a select amount of things and be pretty freaking good at them, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to pick. So he was really big with that. But he wasn't in every single day. But you would know he was going to be in class because there'd be like the smell in the hall. And he would walk around with like this pipe, this like tobacco pipe, like old school, like 1930s pipe.
That makes me so happy.
It would like linger through the hallways and like, oh, Gordy's going to be here. I didn't practice, man.
Jeez.
And he would wear these Steve Miller Band sweatpants and Steve Miller Band t-shirt and Steve Miller Band hat.
Did he sell merch in class?
He showed up under the table.
All right, take back my earlier comment about him not understanding marketing or like that's genius. I didn't know they made sweatpants. That's awesome.
Dude, they got the whole thing.
Yeah.
He was pretty funny. But no, that was really big. I didn't really take in his information when he told me initially.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, dude. Like, you don't even know me. I'm gonna move to Colorado and become a businessman. So I went to CU Denver and took a bunch of business classes and did all that. And like you kind of know when you're not doing what you want to be doing. There's like something you're just like you feel like uneasy.
Yeah.
Like not fulfilled or whatever. Mm-hmm. Whatever cheesy term you want to use, but you don't feel like you're doing the right thing. I kind of felt that at the time. I was like, whatever. Then went to CU Boulder. Went into the marketing school there, which was cool. It was nice. I think marketing is a really good thing to learn, almost just for the sake. Everybody.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
as we're both in marketing.
Yeah.
A little bit biased.
But everybody's a marketer.
if you learn a little bit of marketing, what you're learning is psychology on some level.
Totally.
You're understanding
100%.
Understanding
why people are
people,
interested
an
in
audience.
things.
We were talking with Jeff Adamy last episode because I was asking him what other hobbies he has and marketable traits, and he was like, "Well, I don't think I really have any." I'm like, "No, you definitely do. Whether it's I mean, he puts out good content and covers and transcriptions.
Yeah, he's even got a meme page.
He's
Does
a
he
meme
really?
page.
Yeah.
What? How do we not talk about that? That's a miss.
That's a major miss. Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. It's called Nema Actually Jeff.
really.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, I know, right?
Are you serious?
Yeah, it
What
is.
do you mean page, like Facebook page?
Oh, it's on Instagram.
You didn't bring that up.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in school, and you're
Right.
kind of having these feelings of maybe not being fulfilled, or like you had this. So at this point, you're doing marketing, right? And what are you doing musically? Like, are you at this point thinking about Nashville or thinking about your career in music and drumming?
No, so I went to see you at 2016, and then I was doing the marching band there, which was so fun. Because, like, I got to kind of, like, reunite with all my high school drumline buddies,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool.
What did you play?
Snare drum.
Nice.
It was so bad, but it was so fun.
Yep.
Did that for a bit, and I've always been teaching. Like, teaching was before high school. Like, I would teach, like, neighbors out of my parents' basement, and then I went to Afterbeat Drum School, was like a little studio in Louisville, which is like 15 minutes away from Boulder. I taught there for a bit. And then McNally, I kind of took a break from teaching. And then once I got back to Boulder, I started teaching again. So I've always kind of been doing that on the side, also kind of Swiss cheese. And just like taking any gigs that come my way otherwise. And then I think junior year of college, then I started playing with a band called Guerrilla Fanfare, which was like second line New Orleans type music, which is so fun. Oh my gosh. Dude, we'd play in funerals sometimes, like because it was like celebrating life and it was like New Orleans type stuff.
Big
New
emphasis
Orleans,
on the
like,
celebration part.
I would love to
Right.
have a second
Right.
line funeral, by the way.
Oh my
so
God.
Yeah.
if I
Dude, I'm
die,
there.
Request the band that gets played at your funeral.
we'll play it.
You heard it here, folks. If I die young, if I die young or not, I want a second line funeral. But if I die young, I would like young Taylor to play at my second
me.
line funeral.
That'd be amazing.
Just saying.
Wait, you wouldn't want a Broadway band to play those country hits? And
That's the after party.
Just
yeah, because you will have an after party.
oh my god.
It's gonna be crazy,
Yeah,
man.
please
You don't get a
Play-
say over this.
play Country
really
Girl
don't.
Shake It at my funeral. Please.
Like you could book all of it and sign a contract, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be there to really witness it.
I also
So,
want someone to
could
play
change.
I'm Walking on Sunshine on bagpipes. That's inside.
Dude, bagpipes! Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
It's gonna be a
We're gonna
it's
make it
my,
happen.
My funeral is gonna be a banger. Just saying.
So, did you tour with this group?
We did some shows in Seattle.
So I remember, I
That
feel
was
like
it.
you've shown me some photos or videos of like you in this, like stadiums, or like
Yeah. So
where was that? You know what I'm talking about?
yeah. So played in funerals, in graveyards, and cemeteries.
Yep.
To like breweries and shit, and then some theaters. Like there was the Fox Theater back in Boulder, which we would play at. Just like warming up for people. We never headlined or anything, so we weren't like cool. And then we were very cool. We weren't big.
Yeah.
And then
But you headlined the funerals, right? It was just you.
yeah, a few warm up bands.
Yeah, you're not the opener at the funeral.
Of course not. You got to earn that. And
And
then
if it's any consolation, the opener will be the bagpipes at mine. You will be the headliner.
Yeah, I want bagpipes too.
honored. I'm honored.
A lot of people
Sorry.
don't like bagpipes. For me, that gets me like so motivated.
Oh yeah,
Like I want to put my freaking fist through the wall when I hear
dude. Like
bagpipes.
when I'm
Dan's at the
when I'm
gym.
when I'm lifting weights, dude, for sure. I'm blasting bagpipes in my
Oh my
ears.
god.
That's not
Good
true, but it's gonna be true next time.
Yeah. I'm gonna try that out.
I'm gonna give it a shot. It's a good idea, Dan.
Thank you. This is how good ideas are born, through this.
Just like that.
Through bullshit. Yeah, that's. I actually,
Really is,
I
though.
used to have a sign. I wrote on my snare. It said, "Bad ideas are a good idea."
There you go.
It was just my
very-
telling myself to believe in my BS.
It's very Victor Wooten-esque.
Oh yeah, okay, I'll take
There
that.
are no mistakes. There are no wrong notes.
It's deep.
It's like Master Oogway
Who is Master Oogway?
from Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, it is very Master Oogway.
Yeah,
Very Splinter
very very.
from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. God bless. We played from funerals to bars.
You hit every target audience, starting from the bottom, quite literally, and then you work your way up to the living, and yeah.
And then GRiZ, do you know that guy, the EDM artist?
GRiZ, no, I'm not
I'm
familiar.
unfamiliar.
He's
We're
an
unfamiliar.
EDM artist. He goes by GRiZ.
Collectively, we're unfamiliar.
Is that short for something?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no idea. He was hip though. He was cool.
It's short for Christopher.
Of course. He shall be named
My
Christopher.
My child, Christopher. You're shitting me.
So, how long were you playing with this group?
I'm sorry. I'm
GRiZ?
See, I've been so looking forward to this conversation because I like to derail, and derailing with the three of us is actually
experts at it.
This is wonderful.
For me, it's like, how long can we get off topic?
There's no
for
rail.
me to bring it back. If I remember what we were talking about, that's
We
okay.
need like a
that's part
separate
of.
guy to keep track of what's going
Oh,
on.
we need to hire someone. We need an intern to
We're
have
talking
the key
about
cards.
cemeteries.
Yeah, right.
Stay on task.
All right, it's been
Remember,
a
he does play drums. And this is sort of what we're supposed to be talking about, but it's okay. Yeah, that's good. We're gonna a timer.
GRiZ reached out to us, and
dude.
or no, he didn't reach out to us. Shit. He reached out to the CU marching band, and like we need like a horn section to play a Red Rock show. It's just gonna be for the final song. GRiZ is gonna come out with a new song, and he wants to make it this big ordeal. But the CU marching band couldn't do it because it's like there's some like legal issues behind it, whatever. So all of us were playing in the CU marching band. So we're like, oh, you should do it. And then we did it. We played Broadway, or we played Red Rocks.
I think that's the picture I'm thinking of. Just a
I
sea
think
full of
it is.
people, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that experience, because I know that for a lot of people, that's a bucket list venue, right?
Dude, it like I haven't been the same since, man.
You haven't played there, have you, Nate?
No, I've never even been there.
Yeah, but you know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even just to be there, even just
it looks super awesome.
just to see, just like the view, and like you don't even have to see a show there. I don't.
So are
think.
the rocks red, or is it like a huge
No,
different,
there's no
different
rocks.
mixtures? Oh, there's no
Yeah.
rocks.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's rocks. There's
Okay.
2 giant rocks on each side, and it's and you can kind of like overlook the whole amphitheater and get a good view of.
Clarifying, there's on each side there are 2 rocks, or there's on either side there's a rock that's giant.
One more time.
I feel like this is a
big
great
rocks.
example.
You said there's 2 giant rocks on each side. So do you mean that there are 2 rocks total, and on each side there's one, or each side has 2 giant rocks?
Oh, there's
is
one
important
big
to the
rock
story.
on your right
Okay.
and on your left.
Okay, because I didn't want to show up and be expecting
Right.
double the amount of rocks.
Have you been to Red Rock?
Singular rock.
just one of them? I've seen a red rock. Okay.
No.
Okay, Red Rocks. So
We played it, and it was so cool. And
Okay, I've transferred into actually pissing off Dan.
No, this is good. Yeah.
and
That's why I drank every
Dude.
episode.
it's
I drink because of you.
it's crazy to see something of that caliber, because he rented out. There's an event center in Fort Collins, which is pretty far away from Red Rocks, but he can just rent it out for rehearsal
That's insane.
to set up the whole show and the whole stage and to go through the whole production. He rents out a whole event center. That's crazy. We play in my living room with no kit because we can't make too much sound.
Right.
Like, it's crazy to see that that's even possible.
Right. The scope of which those guys are operating on is it's a different level. People don't understand it.
You don't understand it until you see it. Maybe not even seeing it once isn't really worth it. Well, and you kind of get that through we're not going to sidetrack. But through
I'll do it.
through drum teching, like you get to see the same thing. Like you get to see a whole different side of things.
That's true. Although it was not like a glamorous experience by any stretch of the imagination.
Sure.
Right. In my particular thing, but it was still a different world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool to see. Yeah. Variety. But he rented the whole event center out to practice, and we showed up like not having any parts written for us, and we're like, "Hey, what do you want? Like, what do you want us to play?" And he was like, "Oh, just figure it out. Like, spend like an hour and listen to the song, and just play something when you come back." Oh,
Great.
yeah,
That's not stressful.
got it right. Paradiddle, little roll here, and like we did it and it sounded fine. And he was just like overly enthused about just like the worst playing we've ever done in our lives. And we're like,
So you're
it
playing
is.
drum set at this point with this group?
no. So this
This
is
is the
this is the horn section. So this is with Guerrilla Fanfare, that
Okay.
second line New Orleans band. It was that band with drumline.
okay. So you're playing snare.
Yeah. So I was playing snare, and
Gotcha.
then we had a few bass drum players, and then a few quads.
Wow, what a cool gig. That's not
It was amazing.
common. I mean, for anyone that's done drum corps, like you don't find yourself doing those gigs.
No.
No,
Not at
really.
all.
I think it's getting more common. The staff at CU is the drumline for Odessa, which is another pretty big EDM
Yes.
artist. Yeah. So they drum with them, which is kind of cool. So it's kind of interesting.
Wow.
Once you move into the EDM world, like there's less drum set and more drum line stuff.
Right. Well, yeah, because it's drum sounds.
Yeah, drum sounds, rhythms, and yeah.
Yeah.
Build ups and drops.
Right. But we did that, and like the backstage at Red Rocks is like crazy. There was like a buffet before you went on stage, and like the green rooms were unreal. Just like couches, water,
Yeah, that's what I figured. Like,
hydration.
I mean, all
A
of the
fan.
things.
no way, bro.
used to green room being a tiny
The
little
bar.
closet that
Bathroom.
you have to throw a homeless guy out of.
Right?
Man.
But it's just cool. It's cool to see that different side of life. And that's just how he lives. Like he makes his living on music and just like tours like that.
I've
cool to
been thinking about lately what the life of the giant DJs has to be like. And like, what an interesting thing, because you're essentially making all of the stuff beforehand, and then you're just kind of performing it. You're just like on stage, like moving around.
Yeah.
Because it's just,
Right.
you just press play. They don't have to do anything.
Right. Well, I think there's a lot to it, even more than I get. Because I'm trying to move into that scene with this like loop and stuff that I'm working on. But I was talking about that with someone this morning, and it's a different kind of art. Like in live music, when everything's acoustic, it's all played live, obviously. It's more of like, I don't know how to really say it, but like it's more authentic in some ways, and it's more natural, and like more opportunity for mistakes, and it's more like organic, obviously. But when you have like produced stuff like EDM, where it seems like you're just pressing a button, or if you're doing samples, or if you're doing triggers, it's almost like a painting. It's almost like a still photo of like, you can't recreate that live. Just the keyboard sound, like it's fake.
Yep.
Just by the way it is. Like you're not, just by its nature, it's not going to be performed live. That's just not how it works.
Right.
So you have all these producers now, like in the electronic world, like EDM, and it's all still unable to perform live. Different. Like everybody bags on people that play the backing tracks.
Not me.
Just because we're,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's
Yeah,
like,
not me.
it's just like a different kind of art.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
I think it's changing in some ways. Music won't go away. It's just going to change. And to me, one, because you can't play in any big band right now without having an SPDX. Is that what it is?
Yep, it's a
Little
model.
6-pad thing?
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't play in a big band without having that. You can't play in a big band usually without having any backing tracks. Usually, some people. To me, it's just like moving more towards that like painting type music. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I just think it's interesting. I think it's cool. I think it's cool to see where music potentially is going, and because Nashville's kind of different. Nashville's kind of hung in the past in some ways, on not in any bad way, but like a lot of musicians move here because this is kind of one of the few cities that actually has live music.
Yeah.
Live music with no backing tracks.
Yeah.
Everybody, what you're seeing being played is what you're actually hearing. Sometimes it's not the case. In like the EDM stuff, it's like produced before samples, or it's just a different kind of art. But
I'm excited to see what you do with it, man. I've been.
It's getting there. It's close.
I'm going to quote Palpatine here. I'm watching your career with great interest. Dan doesn't know what I'm talking about.
No, I'm not even gonna pretend.
Star
that I do.
Wars.
You never fucking watched Star Wars,
No,
right?
I watched Star Wars, but I
No,
don't
you
remember
haven't.
that quote. Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I'm not a Star Wars geek or anything.
Have you seen Lord of the Rings?
Yes,
That was
What kind of quote
not a
from it?
real yes. That was a half yes.
I know because
Watch The Hobbit.
Yeah. This is what's gonna get edited out. If it's in any way shaming me, then it gets cut out. That's the benefit to editing. Yes, okay. I want to definitely talk about what you're doing with looping. But at first, I kind of want to backtrack a little bit because you mentioned that you like have always been teaching, right? And you've kind of always had a thing for education, right? And you're actually a published author, right?
Yeah,
And
I always
like-
forget about that.
Taylor Offs.
Taylor's one of the most humble.
yeah.
You're one of the most humble guys I've met. Would you agree with that?
I'm just
Yeah.
not, dude.
I mean, there's not many guys at our age, at your age. We're not the same age. We're close enough.
Dude, I'm like way
I'm the old
younger
one,
than
right?
you.
Yeah. Well, you're older. It's okay.
Yeah, I am.
It's all relative.
gray.
But so
Got
you
creaky
are a
bones.
published author. I'm wondering so where did that love for education begin, and talk about how that evolved into a book? Like,
Yeah.
where did that come from? And tell us about the book too.
Dude, I just think teaching is like, for me, it was so helpful because I learned from so many different teachers back in the day. Like there was, when I first got my drum kit, there was a guy named Don Newby.
How old were you when you first got your kit?
The guy, I got my first kit when I was 8 or 10, I think. Something like that. And my parents were like, you suck. You need to get some lessons. I'm like, I think so too.
I'm just sorry to interrupt. Are your parents musical? Like, was that where you
No,
first developed?
it's all, no. So my mom she was in choir.
All right. Okay,
And it was like a traveling choir. They would play in travel to different places
I get it. Yeah.
while singing.
The definition of travel choir.
They're in traveling choir, but they played harmonica and
And they didn't go anywhere.
they just knitted on the road. It was really weird.
That is weird.
But they said they were a
Some
traveling choir.
avant-garde choir.
Oh.
Yeah.
Never really got it.
You're killing me.
My dad played trombone in high school. Also, doesn't count.
Careful, it's gonna fall off
Huh?
with the slightest touch.
That cat hair again from the cat you've been hiding from me.
Trust me, I don't have a cat.
Do you have a mascot? It's not.
Wait, what? Mascot?
Going back to the peacock. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Oh wow, that feels like ages ago we
Yeah,
talked about
that was a separate track.
Yeah, it does feel like several years since we talked about Peacock. How long have we been in this room? It's hard to tell. There's no outside light, so we could have been in here for 10 minutes or 17 hours. It's like a casino.
Really? Yeah. That's why we need to hire someone to just have a timer going.
You should do
Talking
is
about
stands at all
peacocks again.
times.
you need to get a slot machine in the corner. That's what's really going to turn this up for the guests. Come on, we need a gag.
We do.
By the way, I'm going to take a break and give us a word from our sponsor. Brought to
Velvet
you today
Pit.
by Dirt. Dirt. It's what's on the ground.
Parents didn't play.
I don't even have a response to
bring
that.
it back.
Yeah.
I can do it. Parents didn't play but my parents didn't play.
But they've always been very supportive.
But they've always been very supportive.
Okay, that's what I'm
Except when
getting
they
at.
apparently told you that you suck.
They didn't say
Yeah,
that
well, that's what-
verbally,
yeah,
just
yeah.
with their expressions. No,
Aren't
they've
you
always-
good yet?
They've always
Come
been
on.
super supportive. But no, like I think I'm super fortunate that I've had so many teachers back in the day. Is I got to go to the guy in town, Don Newby. This like Berkeley graduate who had like a dope drum kit, played in a blues band, and then I went to a Zeppelin tribute show when I was in like maybe middle school, like 7th grade or something. And the drummer was Nate Barnes, who's played in a band called Rose Hill Drive, and they got to warm up for like the Who and Aerosmith, and, like, and Van Halen, like all the
It's major
top
acts.
crazy shit. And my dad was like, "We're gonna find him. We're gonna reach out to that guy, and you're gonna get lessons."
Oh, that's so cool.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And somehow my dad tracked him down.
Like what dad would, you know?
He
That's
he was
that's
out
amazing.
for blood.
Yeah.
Like he was gonna find that guy, which is amazing, and he did. And that guy taught me for 6 years, and taught me so many things separate from drumming. Like, of course, he taught me drums, obviously, but like just how to be a person, how to sound check well.
Wow.
No one knows how to sound check well. They're like, "Oh, give me your bass drum." They like feather tap it. Like,
Right. You need to play how you're
That's
gonna
not
play.
why they want
if
your
not
bass drum.
louder.
Right.
Yeah.
silly stuff like that, or just like
I feel like that's what makes the best teachers. Where it's, I think you would agree.
the little
Like they
things.
teach you about life. They teach you about
Yes.
still musical applications, like you said, how to sound check,
Right.
like how to show up to a gig, like not just the right left rudiment kind
That's
of
a
stuff.
given. Yeah.
All the other stuff.
Yeah,
would
I do
hope you can
agree.
teach that.
Yeah.
That's kind of something that
So important.
I've tried to bring to the table with my students, and I've said it to several of them. Like, look, you may have come to me because you wanted to be a better drummer, but my goal is not to just make you a better drummer. I want you to have a great life. So,
Yeah.
like, if whatever I can impart to you, whatever modicum of wisdom I can give in just your general life, that's going to make everything better for you. I want to do that.
Right.
So.
Dude, the thing that holds people back from, I always say this in the live streams that I used to do, but like most people are trying to get from point A to point B, and it's rarely their drumming that's holding them back. Rarely.
Yep,
That's a good point.
It's almost always mentality.
that's me.
That's
That's,
everybody.
that was
Yeah.
me for the last 4 years.
Literally me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Dan. And Ethan. And Jeffrey. It's everybody.
Right. Once you clear the
To a
mud,
certain
focus
extent.
on that, then all of a sudden you have a breath of fresh air to focus on,
Right.
on the thing.
100%. But it's never talked about. I think to me that's the
Not enough,
craziest.
yeah.
Not enough. That's true. And of course it's all to varying degrees, but like, of course you can drum. Like, practice drums for a month. You did it.
Yeah. You'll get better.
Like, yeah.
But
of
is that going to
course.
translate into your goal,
Right.
into whatever whatever your goals are, getting gigs,
Right.
playing arenas,
Whatever you're trying
doing
to do.
studio work,
But if you're trying to, and everybody has different goals too, but like most people love to play live music, and that's why they're here, and that's why they moved across the freaking country to do it. And you can be the best drummer in the world, but if you're like an ass, it's not gonna happen. But so many people they get caught up.
That
in,
wasn't
like,
me looking at you like you're an ass, so you're
Yeah,
not.
right.
Yeah,
I saw
that,
that.
that was me. Thinking,
I didn't think so.
That was me
'cause-
thinking of a name that I'm not going to mention. I was
Did I
like,
touch a nerve?
no. I was just like,
now I'm going to sidetrack for a second.
Yeah.
You know Entourage, a show on HBO?
I know it, but I've never watched it.
Oh my
Hey,
God.
Look at that.
Yes.
Something you've seen, I haven't.
Yeah, you know Entourage? Oh my God, it's
It's
a
not a real
great
show.
show. I used to watch that growing up. It's just a bunch of bros in Hollywood, and it's so real. But I mean, it's a written script, so it's all characters. But one of the main guys, Ari Gold, plays the part. He's like the asshole business guy,
Right.
and he recently started a podcast that I've been listening to. And now I forgot what I was going to say.
You were talking about being an ass, but being good at something.
Yeah.
Say, though.
Different goals.
There's a connection. There.
Point A to point B. Drums.
Something holding you back that's not your skill set. It's your mentality.
Forget it now. God damn it. Whatever. We just won't use this. There was
If-
something
well,
there,
no,
though. 'Cause I
if it
wouldn't
comes
have-
back. If it comes back.
I'll
to
just
you.
blurt it out. Yeah.
I got it. Make a scene.
This section of the podcast brought to you by the sky.
Yeah.
The sky. It's always
Changes
up
at any
there,
second.
even if you don't look, even if you can't see it, even if you're trapped underground. Perfect.
I'm sorry. Anyway.
Well, no, so yeah, it's rarely the problem. Drumming is rarely the problem. And I think it's almost like easy to get good at drums sometimes too.
Yeah.
Because there's a huge access to teachers. Everybody's trying to be a teacher. Everybody wants to teach so bad. Everybody has a website. Everybody has like the little DM me for lessons on Instagram, or Facebook. Everybody's doing it. Not everybody's good at it, but everybody's doing it. So there's access to teachers, and they're all good because they also had access to things like Instagram and YouTube and like all these platforms to learn. So to me, the problem isn't, not that there's a problem, but the thing for a lot of people isn't the process of learning drums. It's the process of almost just like getting out of your own head and just like network, be able to learn songs, be able to just maybe go out in public sometimes. That's hard. Be able to whatever, communicate with people, be able to respond to texts fast, leave voicemails, whatever.
Oh, man.
Like, I think that's the real tricky part.
I'm in trouble.
Me too. We all are.
No, well,
Like,
yeah.
I think I could be doing my dream gig right now, I think, if I understood the stuff earlier. I think. Or if I that stuff earlier and if I kind of chose earlier.
Yes.
If I was 14 and like, I want to be a live looper, I want to move to Nashville, and I want to be a great communicator. If I was 14 and
That's how you sounded when you were 14.
it was probably worse.
Yeah.
Because I had like some buck teeth. I had a freaking like, I couldn't say my R's either.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Did you have your teeth
Dude, I've had
shortened?
like 8. Yeah, have you never had teeth shortening surgery?
See, sponsored by Delta Dental. That's what we were talking about earlier.
Oh, no!
Yes, there it is.
Dude, Delta's everywhere.
They're across the street. That's before this
they really?
episode. We were talking about sponsorships, which we are open to, right?
You should get like some GoPros, giving a close up of your smiles.
Yes. Drumming and teeth. There's a connection there. I'm sure there is.
Somewhere.
But no, that's the segue. There's something I want to talk about with you because I feel like you're super personable and you are a really good communicator. And I know when I first met you, you already knew like everybody in town. I was like, but you've been here for less time. And so what is your approach on networking? Like, how have you had that success here in Nashville? Like, what is your...
John McGrath.
And we've talked about this a lot. Like,
John McGrath did it?
Yeah, it was him. That's
but there's a reason. But you're good friends with John. You're good friends with us and other people.
Right.
How have you navigated moving to a new city?
Quick aside, when he's saying that, for people who are listening, John McGrath is a great bass player who...
One of the best I've played with
moved here somewhat recently. Yeah. Fantastic player, fantastic humor.
Absolutely.
And just a great dude.
100%.
And he's got the coolest bass strap I have ever seen. So
Yeah, everyone says that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him or played with him without someone being like, dude, what's that strap?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's a wooden strap. I forget.
It's made of human skin. If you're out there in the wild and you run into John,
changes everything.
just put your hand on his shoulder and
What a
say,
left turn.
bless you and your strap. And then move on.
Blessed be the strap. I don't know, dude. I think it's always people. Like, I think no matter what you're trying to do, if you're trying to get good at drums, if you're trying to get good at communicating or whatever, it's always people. Like, you can't get good on your own. You can get pretty freaking good. Like, I always think everybody uses Elon Musk as the example of just like productivity and success and everything. Because he's
There's
like,
a valid reason for that.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's some ground behind it.
Yeah.
Ground under it. There's some ground above it.
Some dirt.
There's some
space too.
but oh god. He made
This is going to be the best podcast
it's just
we've ever done.
mess.
Oh,
yeah.
It might be 3 hours, but it's okay. It'll be worth it.
He started a car company.
No way. Really?
Have you heard about this guy?
What's it called?
I don't know. I don't see movies.
He didn't say it was a movie. Come on.
Yeah, he works with this guy called Spider-Man.
Is it a startup?
and
Wait, Spider? Okay.
started a car company, started like a rocket company. Yeah, we all know.
Started a flamethrower business shortly.
Yeah, briefly, like in one day.
Yeah.
But my point being
Yes.
is like, yes, he did a lot of that, and he funded a lot of that, and like he slept overnight at the factory, and worked his ass off for it. But it's not just him. It's like it's also the people around him. And like, what's the when he was starting out, he was part of like this community where everyone was successful. Oh shit! Do you not know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
No, I don't think
Oh no! PayPal. It's like the
I know
PayPal
PayPal.
mafia.
Mafia.
Yeah. Now I really wish I remembered more about it.
I'm intrigued.
Jamie, can you pull that up?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
It's gonna be horribly butchered, but the PayPal mafia was like all these really successful people, like Musk and other successful people
Mhm.
that worked at PayPal
Yeah.
before PayPal was PayPal. So Musk was obviously like the most famous out of all of them, but everybody else started like famous companies and startups, and it's your community. You gotta love everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I've got it right here. Yeah. A group of former PayPal employees and
Yeah.
founders who have since founded and developed additional technology companies such as Tesla.
Interesting.
But it's just, I think it's like 8 people, and they got this like gang photo of them all. It's like,
Dang.
we're all gonna be millionaires.
Well, and that says a lot about what your circle does to you. And
Yes.
Just being around people who are doing the right things will help you move in that direction.
but you don't get that until you're in it.
Right. Okay.
Like,
because
Oh, for sure.
It's
I was
so easy.
my former roommate was that way. I was like, when I was hanging around him, I suddenly was like, oh, I see all these opportunities for me to be succeeding that I have been missing, and this is blowing my mind.
Yep.
Dude, literally, that's why I'm here. Literally why I hang around you
Yeah.
guys.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
started
The people
a
you surround
podcast.
yourself with is so important.
Yeah.
And I wish I figured that out earlier in life as well.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. It's crazy. But
I want his hair, and that's why
Yeah.
I hang out with him. I
What?
want
You have the coolest
Yeah.
hair.
What? No, I don't. I look like
ooh,
a bird.
a bird.
You know what?
That I've never seen a bird.
A peacock. There it is. All right. It's all connected now.
Yeah. I need your hair and your fashion sense. I want your ability to draw people to you. And
Yeah. Well, we can all learn something from somebody else, from each other.
100%.
That's so
You
important.
can, even if they're like kind of like a shitty person, you can still learn something from them. So there's one musical person in my family. His name is Jim Philippi, and he plays drums, and he's left-handed, and he wears drum gloves.
Drum
And
gloves.
drum gloves. Yeah.
I'm anti-gloves, like all the way. Just fun fact.
tell me about old Jim.
Nate's very interested.
I don't know. Oh no, but that was like one of the first things that he told me. That like
Yeah.
I don't think
he said be old and wear drum gloves.
no, he was talking about birds.
Oh,
No, he wasn't talking about birds. He was talking about how you can learn from anybody. Because he was a teacher too, and I think that was his main job. Is he just taught. He taught kids out of his basement, and he was like, yeah, like it was the first time that I heard someone say that you can learn as much from your student as they can learn from you.
That's good.
We've
Good
all
quote.
heard it,
Yeah.
but the first time you hear it, it's different.
Yeah.
It's just like it hits.
have you ever stolen an idea from a student, like directly?
Never. I've never stolen anything
I've
ever.
Hmm.
Everything I've ever played is something I came up
This
with.
guy's too good. He's just too good.
Dude, of course. Yeah. Dude, there's probably some stuff in my book that came from a student. Very likely. And then you can go deep with that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
Like he was the first person that showed me dynamics in this one specific type of a song or whatever. Like there's endless ways you can draw that.
Well, I love to you kind of touched on that. You can learn from people in the negative sense too. Like you can learn from people that are
Don't do that.
yeah, wow, I really don't want to be that. We can edit on here. I want to be able to add a bleep. So let's add a bleep when I say this name. There's a drummer by the name of who is a giant.
My entourage connection just came. it might not be worth it. But what he would do in the podcast, he would be like, I'm not gonna mention names, and then he would say the name like immediately after.
Oh, nice.
It's hilarious.
Nice.
Like, I'm not gonna name names. Brian Johnson. Like, he'll just say it.
Nice.
So we should start doing that.
He's a great player, and he's done some work with like a big name band, because he's so great. But he's just absolutely impossible as a human being. And like watching him interact with other people, I'm like, this is just I never ever be like this even a little bit.
Right.
There's so much to learn from everybody.
But also, like, what a shitty life.
Yeah.
All that you're seeing is a glimpse, like a snapshot of what their life is like. Right. And they're getting pissed off at, like, the parking meter before they show up, or getting pissed off at the sound guy. Like, oh, shit, that's how you live?
Yeah.
Like, that sucks. Like, as annoying as it is to be around, just to fathom and imagine what that life is like.
Right. And well, and just, like you said, if you're seeing a snapshot of that on, say, social media, then I'm like, then what's the rest of their life look like?
Mm-hmm.
It's just got to be.
We're just getting a glimpse of it.
Just a nonstop tragedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, wow. And it's all self-imposed. You just
totally
did
is.
this to you.
It totally is.
And you're mad at the world for it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe I'm doing this to me.
But some people get caught up in that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just how it is. This is how my life works. It only happens to me.
But not you, man. You're not that guy.
No.
Oh, never.
You're better than that.
You're not that guy, dude. You're not that dude guy.
Not that dude guy. Not that guy, dude.
So I'm gonna pull us back here. You mentioned I want to go back to the book. Tell us what book is it, and where did that come from? What was the genesis behind the book, and like?
Yeah. Well, in like high school, I always wanted to write a book. I remember talking to my buddy Jay Cunningham. He would I would always talk to him about, like, I always want to make a book, but I just, like, I don't know what it would be about, because like we know there's so many books out there. Like, it's a pretty saturated market. A lot of paradiddle books, a lot of really great paradiddle books, a lot of rudiment books, a lot of, it's saturated.
Method books. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah.
Of course. But like, there's a guy named Scott. Nathan, do you know the Dilbert blog? Do you know
Scott Adams?
Scott Adams.
Dude, he's incredible.
Yeah, he's freaking amazing.
Absolute, just a brilliant guy.
Yeah, he's a freaking genius. Absolutely.
Not familiar.
He says something. Well, what does he do? He has the Dilbert blog, which I honestly don't really know what it is. I just know he has that.
I don't know about that. I just listen, do like his periscopes and stuff like
Right.
that. Yeah.
Right. But he says you either gotta be in the top 1% of something, or kind of squeeze your way into a niche of something that hasn't been touched upon before in any given field or any given genre.
Yes.
So for books, that's the same thing. I honestly don't think I could write like a paradiddle book that's in the 1%.
Yep.
Couldn't really do it. Or like a fill book or groove book or whatever. So I started writing a book that was maybe kind of focused on feet. Like, some people want to learn about how to put their bass drum in grooves. Like, I'll make
I feel like it's the weakest part of a lot of people's playing. We forget about what our feet are, specifically the left foot.
Yeah.
Right. Which is
where
we're getting here.
So it started out as both feet, just because I thought it was something that I guess I didn't really see, and it's something that I was passionate about and like thought was cool in the drumming world. But then I started to take lessons with people in the area, just about like, hey, like, do you have any like grooves that you use your left foot in? And there were few people that did it. I remember there was one teacher in Denver, Ryan Elwood, who would
the pause, the stare, and the uber enunciation on each one of these humans.
Not to name drop, right? He was the
Ryan
one. Like a big text across the screen.
Yes. With fire.
he was the one guy in the area that actually used his hi-hat foot
So
that
in-
I'd ever
in
really seen.
Boulder.
Yeah, like Boulder, Denver area.
Okay.
And so I reached out to him and I was like, hey, what the heck was that? He was like, oh, let me show you. And he was doing his hi-hat foot on the E's and U's. His hand would hit the hi-hat on the ands, and then bass and snare were alternating normally.
Oh yeah.
Right? But maintaining that close hi-hat sound,
Mm-hmm.
which you don't really see. I was like, wow, that's so cool. So I kind of,
As I'm
Took-
sitting here tapping that out with my hands and feet. That's cool.
it was kind of tricky to keep that hi-hat closed.
Yeah, to keep that closed sound would be really, really
Right.
challenging.
But he could do it, and he would throw it in just like normal songs. Like, that's pretty sweet.
Mhm.
Oh.
I always love that kind of stuff, like where you can do something really fancy and kind of tricky, but have it be musical
Yes.
at the same time. That's always
Totally.
cool to me.
That's actually something I've set out to do.
That's your shit.
Yeah. I'm like, I want to. It's kind of a dick move, but I'm like, well, if I'm recording something, like, I want to play it and make it sound really easy until you try to do it, and then you're like,
Yes.
oh, I actually can't do that.
Right.
Mhm.
I'm like,
Dude,
I'm irreplaceable.
the 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover beat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, everybody listened to that. It's like, uchu cat. Like, that's easy.
Yeah.
That's the magic behind an amazing
Yeah.
part or,
Or
fill
even- yeah.
technique. Like making it sound super simple to the audience.
Right.
And even drummers, it's like, oh yeah, he's just doing that. Then
Yeah,
it's like,
Gad
oh,
is incredible at that. Obviously,
Totally.
Vinny
Yeah.
and Stuart Copeland, all those guys, they're just like, they're
Yeah.
making ideas that sound like, oh, it's pretty. If you're not paying attention to it, you don't realize how ridiculous it is.
Right.
and that comes from like complete mastery,
Mm-hmm.
right?
100%.
Yeah.
So much practice. Okay, so you're hearing him do all this cool hi-hat stuff,
Mhm.
and you were already interested in that kind of your playing? Like, how did that develop from, oh, this is cool, to I'm going to write my own book about the hi. So the name of your book is The Sly Hat, right?
Yeah.
So
Shit, did I not say that?
you didn't. That's okay. I'm here for you. We got you.
This podcast actually brought to you by the Sly Hat.
Yes.
Not actually,
Yeah.
but we want you to check out the book. Buy
We do.
buy his book.
We want to promote other drummers. I mean, that is sort of
thank
that's the goal, I'd say.
This
Lift-
Sly
lift
Hat
us
brought
all
to you
up.
by this podcast.
Yes.
That-
Which happened first? That was definitely the book. Okay, so
But
Mystery of the universe solved.
yes, talk us through that transition.
So it started out as like a book that was just focused on feet. Then I started taking those lessons with that guy. Thank you. To get me back on track. It's kind of like in the marketing world, you start out really broad with your, like I'm doing a lot of Google ads. So with the company that I'm working at. And when you start those Google ads, you have your reach really broad. So it's reaching a lot of kind of different niches and different types of people. And the more data you get, the more you hone it down towards a specific niche and towards a specific group. I feel like the book kind of worked that way also. It was like, okay, it's going to work on like all feet grooves and fills and patterns and exercises. Like,
Yeah.
that's 20,000 pages.
But I feel
maybe-
like, to your point, I feel like that already is pretty niche. So
It's
it wasn't.
true.
It was, so
Right.
it wasn't. So originally, it wasn't just like a groove book or paradiddle. It was already focused on the lower extremities:
That's true.
hi hat, kick drum.
Yeah.
So then eventually it transformed to just the hat.
And then
Yeah.
then I think the more lessons that I took with those people, the teachers in the area, the more I kind of liked and thought that the left foot grooves were more unique and there was more to do with it, to where you could use it in grooves and you could use it in fills, you could use it for kind of like trap sounding grooves with like
Yeah.
the fast hi-hat sounds.
Which you've
Hi-hat
developed
bursts.
beautifully. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You can
Big
use
fan.
like the like 4-way, 3-way flam shit with it too.
Yeah.
Where you're like hitting all that in one motion. Like that stuff, I think like I'm proud of very few things, but like I'm proud of that shit. Of like the 4-way flam stuff and the trap stuff, because I honestly don't see many people doing that kind
Dude,
of
as you
stuff.
should be.
And
I mean, just you're playing alone, but then the fact that you wrote a book that's published by Hudson, is that right?
yeah, Hudson.
Like, that's incredible. So how did that get? So you wrote the book. How did that go from okay, you wrote the book to now it's actually published and it's out there and because you're at this point, are you still in college or are you? And you're still in Colorado, right? Throughout all this.
Yeah. So I think I published it and self-published it. So through Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, you can put anything up. Yeah, to an extent.
Yeah. They'll take it
through their regulations. And they'll print it for you. They'll ship it through Amazon, just like all on their own. You're making like very little money. I wasn't really worried about the money at the time. I just wanted to make a book. And that's it. So I sent it to that Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing. Did all the artwork myself, which was just atrocious in the beginning. It got like a little better.
Just a picture of a left foot. That's it.
Yeah, just barefoot, like taken on my phone. Did that, and then I reached out to like Modern Drummer, and they did a little review of it, which was cool. Like everything was me, like just so many emails, so many just reaching out to friends, just being like, hey, I wrote this book, like, is there any advice you have for me, or is there like anything you'd suggest I do just to kind of get this up? Maybe I want to get it published. I just want to kind of get it out there. I would drive to drum stores, be like, hey, I wrote this book. It's called Sly Hat. It's about drums and the left foot. They'd be like, that's cool. So? And dude, I was visiting someone in Boston one time, and I brought the books, and I was going to go to all the local drum stores. And I walked into a few stores, and it's like little, like, I don't know, 18-year-old me, nervous as shit, and like, hey, I wrote this book. Do you mind like putting it in your store? And it's like this big old fucking guy, and he's like, he like lost his shit on me because I was trying to sell him a book. And he sent me away, and I'm like, all right, whatever.
What?
But yeah, dude,
And is he still in business?
I don't know.
Wait,
find
they got
that.
mad at you?
Yeah,
As an 18-year-old?
he's like, this is not how you should be doing this. Like, whatever.
What
This
is-
is
Dude,
so
what a
I was going to
loser,
compliment
dude.
you. Like,
You're
you were
seriously.
doing so much at that age.
You shouldn't have. You can't come in here with a book that you wrote,
Yeah.
child. Let me educate you. No, you fucking idiot. Let me educate you. I wrote a book. Fuck off.
Yeah, wow.
It's wild, and I was shook by it.
And so it was printed.
But-
Was it also an online version yet? Or was it digital or just
No,
print?
this is printed. So
Just printed.
yeah,
Okay.
it was through Amazon.
Gotcha.
They printed every copy of it.
Yeah.
That is exceptionally terrible. I can't get over how
Yeah, wow.
how
I'm so
idiotic that
surprised.
is.
It was
That-
terrible. It's.
I'm sorry, man. You deserved to be treated with the utmost respect, and that
I
is
think
absurd.
so too.
Yeah.
Terrible. But yeah, did that for a long time, and then I think in 2020 during COVID, I reached out a little before. I reached out to Joe Bergamini.
Mhm.
I was like, hey, I got this book. Been trying to get it published for my whole life. Like, do you mind helping me out? Like, if you have advice. I wasn't directly asking like, hey, can you publish this book? I was like, hey, I'm trying to get this book published. Do you have any advice for me, or do you have anybody that I can reach out to? And like, of course, that was like the 80th time I've sent out that email. But you're always like a little more nervous before you send it in to Joe Bergamini, because he's like the guy. He's the publishing
Yeah.
guy.
He's pretty well known in the drum industry.
He's like a little more nervous to press that send button.
Yeah.
But he responded right away, which one is why he is where he is.
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
he's a great
Great dude.
communicator.
Yeah. Well, was he nice to you?
And he was nice.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
The guy who
So
actually
strange.
does stuff was actually a cool person.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Bizarre.
Well, that's why I
Bizarre.
asked. Is
Weird
he
how
still
that
in
works
business?
out.
Yeah.
Strange coincidence.
Yeah.
Strange
Must have been.
coincidence. Yeah.
But I'm sure the guy at the corner music store had totally valid advice
Oh, yeah.
for you. Yeah.
Successful.
Sorry, I'm gonna let
Yeah.
that go. But
That
that,
guy's
really
like-
pisses me
yeah.
off.
No,
He's-
that's a great.
He's
like,
living his life to the fullest extent.
For sure.
Yeah.
Spare me.
Well, that's a good example of what not to be like. You know, we talked about like
100%.
looking after people that have been like good examples, but that's a good example of don't be like that.
Yeah, you can be an
Absolutely.
ass and work at
Absolutely.
the corner music store, or you can be a
like
great
Joe
person and be
Bergamini,
Joe Bergamini. Yeah, exactly.
True.
All those guys, Dom Famularo. Like,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Joe got back to me like right away, and he was like, yeah, like, I forget what he said, but he was like, yeah, let's get it published, send it my way, and I'll give you some critiques. And he's like, this is great. I think you should fix this, this, and this, like very kindly. And it needs a video series because I didn't have any video to go along with it. It was just paper and notation. And then, so I'm like, okay, cool. And then I reached out to my buddy, Max DiVincenzo.
I know Max.
You do know Max.
We got to get Max on this podcast.
Max is dope.
Yeah.
Come to Colorado.
Yeah.
Reach out to him, and he's got like a little film production studio. And we filmed a little video series and a whiskey distillery.
Awesome.
It was so fun. It just happened. Again, my dad helped me. I went to them and was like, hey, I'm trying to find a place to record this video series. And he was like, oh, my dad's in insurance. He was like, oh, there's a guy that I insure, and they got this cool little whiskey distillery with barrels. It might be cool to do it there. I'm like, yeah, cool. And he reached out. My dad reached out, not me, because good grief, it's amazing. And it turned out that one of the distillers would just set up his drum kit in the back room where all the barrels were because he liked the sound of the reverby room. Yeah, it's amazing. So they're like, yeah, just set it up for free. Take a weekend.
That's amazing.
Like, yeah, take it. Be really loud for like 48 hours. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, those videos, we'll link to it, but those look and sound incredible.
That was Max.
Like,
yeah,
those are awesome.
right.
Yeah.
That was Max. Yeah, he's got a production studio where he does audio and video, and he helped me out with that like hugely. And then I did all the editing, which takes forever, which is a nightmare every time. Yeah, did that. Sent it to Hudson maybe like a month before I moved to Nash. And then moved to Nash.
Here we are.
And then
Yeah.
here we are.
So
Yeah,
let's go there. Yeah. What was the sort of the catalyst for you moving to Nashville? What was the draw? Why Nashville?
What I think first and foremost, I felt like I had to get away, not because I was avoiding anything, but just for the sake of getting away from living in my hometown my whole life, just to see what life is like outside. And I think it's especially interesting to go from the west to the south. Not that this isn't like super south, because we're in a city.
South enough. I felt that way going
It's way
from
up south.
New York,
It's up south.
north to south.
But-
you know.
I think you got to see that. I think I've always kind of lived by the mantra of like having to see the full spectrum of life. I think like my parents kind of like nailed that into me. Like meet all people, see all things, go all places. It's just more fun that way.
Yeah.
You get to actually see what life is like. And I think, yeah, Boulder's pretty freaking liberal. And to go from that to here, we're in a city, so it is liberal, but
Yeah.
like we'll have people
But
coming
still,
in.
I mean,
But it is still the south.
Oh, yeah.
So,
But it's different.
you'll meet, you meet
It's-
people. I'm sure you have.
It's just different. That's
It's
it.
different. Yep.
It's a different way of growing up, a different way of living. And I think because
I like that you said living, not living.
living, yeah,
It's a different way of
I'm
living.
a Southern boy.
And now you're a southern boy.
The Entourage podcast, his name is Jeremy Piven. So the podcast is called Living with Piven. I think that's what it's called. But it's pretty slang.
Sounds like
This
Harry Potter
podcast brought to you by
By Entourage. By
Entourage.
HBO. Yeah. What's with the snap? Is that a cue
That's
to
your-
edit
yeah,
out?
that's your-
That's the music.
This is your sponsor music.
Oh my god, it's awful. I
I
really do want to
Special city.
record like I want to record like an intro like of all of us playing. We need like a consistent intro music of like,
Yeah.
us drumming.
Yeah.
We should do it in your storage unit. Just have massive reverb and we're all just shedding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it. That'd be so fun.
That'd be cool.
Can I live in your storage unit?
Yeah. Do it. It'd be so fun.
He's actually serious. Yeah. For a little bit.
Dude, hop in.
I want to talk about
Smells
that too,
just
because
awful,
like
right?
Another reason that we've really all connected, besides just being good friends, is like you personally have set up these sheds and hangs at your storage unit here in East Nashville. Talk about that, like, 'cause I feel like that sort of developed from your community in Boulder, right? There's a really strong sense of community in Colorado. Would you say?
I'd say there's more here.
Yeah, more here.
Honestly.
Hell yeah.
More.
Nashville for the win.
Honestly.
Screw you,
Honestly.
Colorado.
Yeah, because this is not a sidetrack. This is gonna relate, I swear. I'm super into the running scene. I love it just because it is such a great community.
Yeah.
And when I moved here, and this kind of ties in too, like I honestly think it was almost easy to get into a community just because everybody here is so willing to help, and that Southern hospitality is so real. And not like I'm not bagging on Boulder in any way, but I think there's something about this city specifically that's like very homey, very welcoming.
Totally.
And like I'll go and work in that coffee shop, remote work at that coffee shop sometimes, and there's a lot of people meeting up just because they moved to Nashville. And there's so many people here saying that they moved to Nashville because they didn't want to go to LA or they didn't want to go to New York because it's so cutthroat. That's what they always say. That's what they always say. It's more homey here, and people are willing to help. And that's another thing too. Like, I reached out to a bunch of people when I first moved here, and even before I moved here, like people like Tim Buell was unbelievably helpful. A whole bunch of people. I was like, hey, like I'm gonna move. I'm scared as shit. What do I do?
Yeah.
Like, how am I gonna meet anybody? How am I gonna find a place to practice? How am I gonna find a place? Anything.
Yeah.
I don't have a place to live. Where should I live?
So you were reaching out to all these connections before you moved here,
Yeah.
right?
I think like a few months before, just because I was in a panic.
Mm-hmm.
I had to figure out what to do. And I think, I don't know, like I never tried to move to LA or anything, but I think the people here are crazy nice.
Yeah.
Everybody got back to me.
Yeah.
I don't think there was one person that didn't.
That's why I love it here. That's what I've experienced. It feels, I've been here about a year and a half. It feels like home. It doesn't feel like just another city.
It's crazy.
You know?
And then you have people that move here and they're like, yeah, I just wanted to play live music. And then they move here for 2 months and they're like, oh my God, like, I'm playing live music.
Yeah.
Whether it's Broadway or touring or anything. They're just like, oh shit, it happened.
Yep.
Like,
Didn't have to wait long for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're almost like shocked by it.
Yeah.
Like it happens so fast. You just have to go to a bar and I play drums. And then people come swarming in like, oh, I need a drummer for this, this, and this, and this.
It's true.
It's amazing. That's the way it should be. It absolutely should be that way. It's community. It's always people.
So
I forgot your question.
no, community. That's what it was about.
Yeah.
Talk about what you're doing here in Nashville, because I feel like you're one of the more unique drummers here. Like you're not focusing a ton on playing live, right? At least not yet. Nope. I love your mentality and your like.
Yeah, you've even said no as I've offered you several things. You're like, no, I'm doing this thing. I'm like, oh yeah, you're really, and that goes to what you talked about earlier in your philosophy. You're like, I'm just going after the thing that I'm going after. I'm not really getting distracted by other things.
I think there's a lot to that, and I think there's pros and cons to it. I could never leave my house and only work on looping stuff and like writing songs and whatever.
Right.
And I could literally go insane pretty easily. Within a week, I could be crazy.
Oh yeah.
I would just have to.
You're probably pretty close to doing that. Bet.
Like I could never leave my place and just work on stuff, but there's obviously like a balance to all this.
Yeah. So you're doing this whole looping thing, right? Talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from, and
yeah,
what's the goal with that?
Wait, sorry. To go back to the being specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because so he was talking about you've actually turned down.
I've turned down some gigs,
live gigs.
Dude, honestly, like I know that I don't like playing some kind of live gigs. Mm-hmm. I've played in cover bands that were just like I just remember like playing at midnight and just being like, fuck this.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like this. Some people love it.
Yeah.
They just love the fact that they're playing.
And
that's
yeah.
And
You're
there's a
not playing
limit
at
to
midnight.
it.
I'm playing.
But-
I'm playing till like 2:30 in the morning.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah.
For me specifically, because I'm my own individual person.
Yes.
Like I don't like that kind of stuff
Yeah.
to an extent. I'm taking some gigs, like I'm playing next Sunday. A girl named Erin Jarvis. But she's got like an electronic-y kind of thing. So it's like it
Rad.
fits within the kind of music that I want to be doing. And then I'm playing with a girl named Charlie Reynolds next month. Just because, like, for the sake of being able to play. And it is fun to play with people, but I think overall and ultimately I moved here to be around a bunch of musicians that, like, that are better than me. And just to kind of pursue the looping thing, which where it is right now, it might change, but I've got like 4 or 5 songs that I think are almost finished. I'll come out with an EP with some like music videos to go along with it where I'm playing the stuff live. But I'd be looping with a buddy of mine, I'd be looping drums, keyboard, vocals, and guitar.
Dude, I can't wait for that.
I'm so excited to see this.
Yeah.
in action.
Yeah, me too. But it's
I feel
weird.
like you're gonna take over the freaking world.
Yes.
And I'm gonna be like,
It's,
man.
We knew him when he was before that time.
it's just
We knew him when he was just an author of a book published by Hudson Music.
Exactly.
It's just in that stage where it's all talk, though.
But-
All my
yeah.
friends know that I'm really good at talking about things I want to do. And
But I mean, you've been doing more than talking, obviously. I mean,
Sometimes.
you've been. How long have you been actually working at this?
yeah,
Like a few years, or
A
like
year.
the past year, pretty seriously.
a year, yeah.
Yeah, because you put out a few teasers, and like it all sounds really awesome.
Dude, you're
Thank you.
you're
Like,
a
I cannot
consummate
wait.
doer, man. Like there's no question in my mind.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
But even I fall into that trap of just like, we all want to do so much shit,
Right.
and we say so much shit,
Right.
and we think like, oh, well, now I said it, I'll do it. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yes.
wait, that's a lot to do.
It's
Especially with
and
social media.
and even
Yeah,
saying that you're going to
especially.
do it is kind of a trap because your brain rewards it in the same way
Totally.
as having done it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like so, sometimes it's good to have these goals in your head and don't tell anybody that you're like not that I'm saying you shouldn't have told us. This is something you've been working on solidly for years. So
It's too late. I'm already doing it.
right. Yeah, exactly. You've already got momentum going. But if that's an advice that I'd like to give to people. I'm like, you know what? If you really want something, start working on it in silence for months before you say anything to
Well,
anybody.
that's how you figure out if you actually like to do it.
Yep.
Some
Yeah.
people only do things because they like the praise that they get from it.
Yeah.
Right.
If drumming's a perfect example. There's so many solo hours, just like away in a practice room like this, like you're enclosed pretty tightly with 4 walls with no one else around. You can't brag. You sound terrible when you practice.
Yeah.
You shouldn't sound good when you practice. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're not showing off.
Yeah.
It's a very humbling process. And if you like that process, then you're doing it right.
Right.
Yep.
You're not
Without the
getting
quick
paid.
dopamine fixes of, oh, look at this social media lick, or
Yeah.
like, so putting your head down and like literally deep diving into the project.
Right. It's like those long-term, I don't know, I guess dopamine releases. Like seeing something like, I would really like to do this. And of course we have like 1,000 of those, but like picking one and just like keep fucking doing it
Yeah.
over and over and over. And then it's just so goddamn satisfying to finally do it.
That's
That's-
like more of a
that's the whole point.
fulfilling feel, right? Because there's a difference between being successful and like achieving something which is tangible, right? But then being fulfilled, that comes from the years of putting work into that thing.
Dude, some people
And I feel, to me, fulfillment is a much greater feeling.
Yeah.
You know,
Some people will never spend enough time to really feel fulfilled from something.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can't do it. Like, it's too scary, or it's like it's too much time. Some legitimate reasons, like I gotta take care of kids or whatever, but sometimes it's like they will never feel what that's like.
Well,
amazing.
the sadness in my heart for people that don't even try for things that they do honestly in their hearts care a lot about.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even try to head in that direction. That I have a brutal sadness in my heart for those people. Like, man, you don't even know what it's like to go after it.
Right.
Because you told yourself it was impossible. That just breaks
sad.
my heart, man.
Can you imagine being 50 years old and just like looking back?
That's regret.
Shit,
Yeah.
I wish I did it.
Yeah.
No, you can't. No, you can't. Because once you have a kid, that's more important than anything you could want to do.
Yeah.
Not that it's got to be amazing to have kids and like so fulfilling in its own way.
Yeah.
But
But to be fair, I know people with kids who still go after new things, and like but it's a momentum thing.
Mm.
You know, you're like if you believe you can achieve these things and have certain things in your life, and like, well, then I know how to put in time consistently toward a thing, whether that's 10 minutes that I have free a day to do that, or if it's 4 hours I have free.
Right.
Like, but if you're just doing that every day, then you're
building.
you're getting, even if you never have what like the wildest version of your dream of that thing, you can have some piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would rather have that than just be like, yeah, I'm just empty as a human.
Yeah.
I'm just an empty, broken thing.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. The sad thing is people that realize that too late, and then
Yeah.
they do have regret.
Yes.
You know, it's too late.
freaks me the fuck out.
So
Well,
I love it.
It's
So
not going to
you've-
happen to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've moved here, and
Not
you're
gonna
like
let
you're set on what you do want. You know what you don't want. I think there's something to be learned from that. Because even myself, like I've been kind of the yes person. Like I've said yes to almost every gig, which has been amazing. Like I love to play live, and I'm doing more Broadway recently, but I need to remind myself when to say no and when to just focus on specific things. That's just as powerful, if not more important.
100%.
So I love that. So you're getting ready to release. Like, what's the timeline for you?
I think it's within like the next
Or
year.
or don't tell us, because that's part of what we're talking about. Right?
I mean,
it doesn't have to be this
that doesn't
big
matter.
publicized thing.
I don't have a label.
Yeah.
No, I honestly don't know.
Yeah. When it's ready, when it feels
Yeah,
natural.
I think I'm meeting with some people, some like EDM people to kind of help me with how to release and whatnot. But a step where I'm at right now is I just got to finish the songs. From there, then I'll do some reaching out, do video, and then release. Which, like, I have a life on the side.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, I made the choice not to do gigs on the side, so I'm working as a marketer and a beer pourer on the side. Like, I got to do that shit also. So with that, like, in the equation, I'll probably get it in like the next year or so,
Yeah.
I'd say.
Where can people find you to?
Yeah.
Someone that does, when you do release all this stuff.
The music's gonna be everywhere. It's gonna like Spotify and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I live at a. No one thought that was funny. I'm on like Instagram, and
No, it was
if
so
you want to
funny.
find me, shit, guys. But yeah, I'm on like Instagram with Taylor Friesth.
Yep.
Not Friesth.
Freest. We'll link to it in the show
Yeah.
notes, as
Yeah.
they say.
He's the freest.
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube's not doing so great.
Well, they just
But
released
there.
YouTube Shorts. They're trying to compete with TikTok.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
Good luck.
one day.
All right, let's ask Taylor some quick questions and wrap this thing up.
Do I have to be on?
Coded or clear?
What?
Wait, what?
Oh, coded.
Oh, good question. I didn't hear that. Coded?
Yeah, coded.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Except for the bass drum head,
All right.
the batter side. Then you do clear.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Power stroke.
All right. Bold move.
I know.
Bold.
I know.
Okay, that was a quick question. Next quick question. Who are your major drumming influences? Because I feel like you have a very unique, awesome style. Everyone, please check out Taylor's videos. He has the coolest licks, and check out the Sly Hat because he just does all this cool stuff.
Thank
So where does that come from, though? Who are your top guys?
dude? Benny Greb,
Mhm.
obviously, because he's Benny Greb, obviously.
He's the man.
There's Richard Spavin, who's dope. I think
guy.
he does such a good job of like keeping modern sounds, but also like innovative and unique. And then Gerwin, Eisenhower. Have you heard of him?
No.
I sure hope his last name is Eisenhower.
I hope so too.
He's dope though. Like he's got like this little 10-inch firecracker snare that he flips, so he's hitting the snare side.
That's what you've done, right?
And he does like a lot of like breakbeat shit.
Mm-hmm.
Gerwin Eisenhower.
Gerwin.
Wow. Look him up.
Yeah, I'm doing this
So
now.
make sure
Yeah.
that
So I
his
don't.
last name is Eisenhower.
We'll fact check it.
I'd say those are my top 3 currently.
Yep.
I'd say I got really far from the mic when I said that. Sorry.
You're good.
Sorry, Dan.
Yeah. Eisenhower.
What
Got
else
him.
here?
Got him.
He's dope.
Okay.
Is that the last name?
Yeah. Eyes or nostrils?
Eyes.
Okay. Bold move again.
Wait, what's the question there? Would you rather have, or is it like an attraction?
It's
Whoa, if you
both.
could lose one.
Yeah.
Nostrils.
Yeah.
I feel like I've lost that a long
So you'd
time
rather-
ago.
So, okay, see versus smell. That's what we're getting at.
Yeah, like you'd still have maybe everything else, but it would just be closed. Like you could cut a hole in your face and probably still smell stuff, but you just, yeah. It's just
Where
this is
are
a
your
theoretical
smellers? Are your smellers in here or are they in your skull?
I think they're in your skull.
All right. Yeah. Take my nose.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Where are
Young
your
Jamie,
smellers?
can you pull that up once
Yeah.
again?
Jamie, where are your smellers?
We didn't read this, Jamie.
Oh.
So you need a flamingo. You need a Jamie.
Peacock.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a peacock.
I was like, man, where's the? I mean, I don't
well,
disagree.
let's get
I'd
a
love to
flamingo
have
too.
a flamingo.
Yeah, the more the merrier.
Yeah.
You need
It would
a-
be dope just to have a flamingo floating around in here. I feel like they don't take up too
Do
much
they
space.
float?
Like there's space in
I mean,
here for a flamingo.
floating in a like emotional way.
There's barely room for the 3 microphones in here.
You could fit a flamingo. They're just tall and
Yeah,
skinny.
we could. Like me.
That was your excuse?
Next question. What is the next piece of gear that you are interested in purchasing?
Whoa. I need one of those SPDX. Is it SPDX? SPD?
I thought you had one. Yeah, that's one.
No.
What do you have though? You have what do you have to do your looping? What piece of gear is
That's
that?
an APC 40.
Okay.
So that's a controller to Ableton pretty much.
Mhm.
The SPD, it just looks so much cooler when you're hitting it. Then like you can press little pads, but it's not as fun.
Yeah, well, especially if you're trying to do this live, you need to be able to
Right.
Yeah.
Need to look
with
cool.
the sticks
Sticks.
and look cool. Of
And look
course.
cool with sticks.
What food do you hate?
That's a good question.
I'm allergic to peanuts.
You're allergic, but that doesn't mean you hate it.
Yeah, I hate them.
Okay, hate them because they'd kill you. Would they kill you?
I think so if I had enough.
If I had enough. Okay, so that you're not one of those guys that like you get some dust and you're like,
Oh,
into
dude, that
anaphylactic
shit,
shock.
that's scary.
You're not one of those wusses.
If it's not that,
Sorry to any wusses listening.
dude, bananas like give me a little scratchy feeling in my throat.
Okay, so it's another allergy thing.
No,
So you
just scratchy feeling. I have like a banana every day.
But you,
Dude, you grow through suffering.
Love it. Great quote.
bananas should not give you a scratchy feeling, my guy. Pretty sure
shouldn't
you're
be
having
suffering
a
from
mild
bananas.
allergic reaction.
Yeah, you might want to
They're
get
a
that
very
checked out.
soft
though?
fruit.
Think of the potassium.
There's not even that much potassium. There's more potassium in a potato than there is in a banana.
Is there really?
There really is. And there's less sugar.
Really?
Potato's better for you than a banana.
But I'm not going to put a potato in my smoothie.
But you could.
But you could.
And it would be awesome.
There's a lot of things I could do.
Be open-minded, Taylor. Come on.
Have you ever put pumpkin in a smoothie?
No.
It's that
Like
time of year.
seeds?
No, just put
The whole pumpkin?
you can just get like ground pumpkin puree.
Whoa.
Wow.
That
No,
could be
like
good,
that-
though. I can see
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I mean, it's a lot like a sweet potato. All right, it's good for you.
I saw your Instagram story with the green smoothie yesterday.
Oh yeah. Someone asked me what's in it, and I just said green.
I'm drinking. I think we talked about this. I have a very similar thing.
Like, down it so fast. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just like a what's it called? It's just a very healthy supplement, right? You take every day.
Yeah, it's literally
like
like
a
a super,
packet?
super greens. Yeah, I
Yeah.
put a couple of teaspoons in.
Oh, athletic greens?
It's not athletic greens.
Oh, okay.
But I would like to switch over to athletic greens. I've heard nothing but awesome stuff.
It's
about them,
pricey.
so. It is,
But-
but it does look like by looking at what's in it, I was like, oh yeah, I do want that in
Looks good.
my system.
We could have a whole podcast on supplements.
Oh,
Really
dude,
good.
we should do
Dude,
that.
I'm phasing right now on.
We're gonna
supplements.
have you again at some point.
Oh,
The thing
yeah,
is,
we're
'cause
gonna-
there's
this
just
isn't
you're a
it.
natural person to just have on. 'Cause
Do it
Yes,
every day.
very interesting guy to talk to.
Every day.
So much to learn
podcast.
from.
I have a supplement podcast, flamingo and peacock podcast.
Ooh, I know what I want to talk about real quick to wrap things up. So I like to always learn about other hobbies that people have besides drumming.
Mm-hmm.
You are very athletic. You're a runner. You have shoes dangling from your storage unit, right? Your little your lamp. But that's a big passion of yours as well, right?
Oh yeah.
So talk about that real quick. And is there any relation to running and playing drums? I'm curious. Or, I mean,
No.
there definitely is of being fit, and like drumming is a very physical activity.
Dude.
So whether you're working out or for you like to go on runs, and
Mm-hmm.
and your dad is also like that came from your dad, right?
Yep. He
Your
was.
dad's awesome. He sounds
made-
like someone we should meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And my mom too. And my brother.
Yeah.
And my cousins. And my grandmas.
okay.
We'll bring your grandma on this podcast and not tell her what it's about.
You ever played drums before?
It doesn't seem like you know a lot about drumming at all.
No, so my dad was in the Olympic trials for the marathon.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, like real
See, he
deal.
says that he's so humble. Oh, just
I
Olympic
didn't do
trials.
it.
Yeah, but your dad. Yeah, but you could probably, right?
No,
At a certain point.
I don't know.
Well, okay.
I'm gonna try.
So, go ahead.
So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there was a me before running and there was a me after running, and like I feel like I'm so much more sane than before. But like I try to run every day. Like I'm doing at least 8 miles every day, and then I'll do like workouts, and then I'll run with groups and long runs on Sunday. And like, dude, it keeps me sane. There's something about just like going out and just like whatever. I'm going to turn into Joe Rogan, but just like sweating and just like really, I think it's really easy to see a progression in running and like
Yes.
actually see yourself get better
Mm-hmm.
because it's very definitive. It's very measurable.
Yes.
Music is not.
Yeah.
Music is very arbitrary. It's really hard to figure out if you're actually getting better.
Yeah.
It's really hard. And I think that's why a lot of people struggle with it. But in running, it's very like objectively like that was 5 seconds faster than my previous time.
Mhm.
I'm getting better. So you feel better about it.
Mm.
So I think it's great in that way. And it really teaches you discipline. It really teaches you just like, oh, does it suck? Like, so go do it.
Yeah.
You'll be better.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, discipline and just like being healthy.
I feel the same way about lifting weights.
Yeah,
Exact-
it's the same.
exact
It's the
same
same
way.
exact thing. It's just one makes you a lot skinnier. No, I just think it makes you a better person. I think you just feel better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think is the whole point.
I think I agree with you on having something measurable you can see improvement in. If it's not going to be music, which it kind of can't be in a lot of ways. In some ways, you can measure improvement,
Art's weird.
but you can having something like that in your life is huge.
Huge.
100% on that same
Mhm.
page with you, my dude.
Absolutely.
I think, not to get deep, but life is all about balance, right? So it's cool that you have drumming and in your musical projects, which is a very long-term activity. And then you have something like running where it's obviously like you know, have those short-term goals and it's very
Mhm.
tangible.
Yeah.
So they kind of help balance each other out.
100%.
I'm the same way. I have my own different hobbies. That's like, I talk about building websites. That's like a very measurable. Like now it's 1 page down or now it's done.
Right.
Drumming,
Well, you
it's
keep
and
that
music
little
is,
time bar too. You were
yeah, we
talking
talked about that. Yeah.
Right.
I have weird spreadsheets that tell me, I kind of gamify it, but
Man's got spreadsheets.
yeah, it's a whole other topic. But cool. Well, this has been awesome. Anything else you want to add, or we'll have Taylor back for sure. We've talked
Follow him
about
on
a lot.
social media. Follow him in real life. Just follow him around. You don't need. Yeah, you don't need to. Well, I mean, yeah, you find his house, but if you just see him in public, just
got a
start
nice
walking
house.
behind him.
Yeah. It's like in Forrest Gump.
Just felt like
Just like
running.
that. I've
Yeah.
seen that movie.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, you actually got that one. I appreciate
Well,
it.
dude, I can't wait. Thank you for being on this podcast.
Yeah,
Thank you for your friendship. I cannot
to
wait
do it.
for your. I'm excited for. I think we both are. We're excited for like your releases and just like excited to see what you come out with. Because you're someone that's worked super hard. You know, you're a super genuine guy. So
I'm excited to see how your fame can benefit me.
that's what this is all about. Yeah.
I'm only doing it for you, Nathan.
Gosh.
Was that not clear? Sorry.
I mean, that's the lens through which I view everything. So.
Gosh.
How can you help me?
Right. That's how I start every
Help me,
conversation.
help you, help me.
Whenever I'm meeting a person, I was wondering what you could do for me. What?
How can I help you? Help me.
It's great. It's awesome. That's the takeaway.
There we go.
All right.
Cool.
Let's end this shit. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening. Again, my name is Dan Ainspan. My co-host is Nathan Sletner, and we hope you've enjoyed listening to episode 4 featuring Taylor Friesth. You can find Taylor's links and his website, tfdrums.com, at the links in our show notes. If you have enjoyed this episode, please help us out by sharing it with a friend. Give us a follow on Instagram at Nashville Drummers Podcast. You could also leave us a 5-star review, preferably on Apple Podcasts or the platform of your choice. Lastly, we've received a lot of really good interest for those that are trying to get on the podcast themselves, and we definitely appreciate that excitement. Just send us a message on Instagram or send a text to myself or Nathan, and we'll try to talk to you and see if it'd be a good fit. But we'd love to have you on, and thank you for your patience as we are working through our list of drummers here. There's no shortage of very interesting people to talk to, of course. And that leads us to episode 5, coming up next with Ethan Harb, who is quickly becoming a name here in the Broadway circuit. Again, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time in episode 5. Cheers.